Oh my goodness gracious me. I have another window in here and it kept throwing me off because I kept hearing two theme songs playing and I can't find this. There. Ah, thank God.
Okay, well, I'll say hi to everybody. Hello, Body Illusion. Seventh, great to see you.
Oh, go
And
ahead.
guess, and hello, Shannon Smith. It is always a pleasure to see you.
I'll go ahead and try to be rational. All righty. So, how's everybody doing this fine day? Ah,
I
ah,
had therapy today, so
really?
wow, that's some tough stuff. So,
Oh, well,
but
it was a good
yeah,
session, though.
it was. I was already crying before the session, so it gave us a good starting place, right? Like we
Wow.
had a place to start with it since I was already crying. So, but just some of the losses, like actually the loss of one of my dogs because of the
Oh boy.
hurricane.
Oh
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
was
That
hard.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I
That can.
still blame myself. I still blame myself. So, hi
Yeah.
Tony, good to see you.
Well,
I
sure.
still blame myself because I didn't evacuate. I still would have been homeless, but we wouldn't have had to go through the trauma that we went through.
Sure. Yeah.
You,
Yeah. That
you
can
know,
be.
with the water rising.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That could be really rough losing a fur child. Yeah. Some of my favorite people are dogs, so I get that.
all of my favorite people are dogs. So
Wow. Um. Instead of
you,
breaking out into
you're right below dogs.
well, I like the expression. What was it? Dogs look up to us, cats look down to us, but pigs treat us as equal. You know, you can feed a pig an apple, and you know what you get from it? Bacon. I am so stealing that, but I'm
I
waiting for.
love me some bacon, that's for sure. So if you really like bacon, then I'm right with you on that. I love me some bacon.
Yes, I use the term bacon in my name just because I was going for a funny effect. Truth be told, um, and then what was
I
it? I had
remember. I remember the first day. It was a little bit different and had bacon in it, and the whole chat was talking about bacon.
yeah,
I
and
remember that.
and I meant to change it back, but I changed it a number of times, and YouTube wouldn't let me change. I had to wait like a month or something. And there was one point it was Ben Bacon is meat candy.
That's the one
Turner.
I remember. The
Yeah.
original one. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one point I don't know why it was that big of a deal to me, but I was talking to Streets LA. And what are the chances he's going to give you a shout out? He's got so many people in his, and the chat stream is just flying by at light speed. Well, holy crap, he gave me a shout out. He's like, "Hey," and he didn't read my name. He said, "Hey, Ben Bacon." Yeah, that's right. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, why not? Heck with it. I'm still trying to get used to it. It's hard for me to take serious, but honestly, I cannot think of an interesting title. You know, I let
I could
respond.
think of a really interesting title.
Well, I can think
Yeah.
of interesting ones. This is a
My
lot of them.
name. My name was the best title I could come up with. So, hey,
Oh,
even I can't think of a
okay.
better name, came up with a better name than I did. So,
Yeah, that name was pretty good. I got to give you that one.
hi,
Yeah,
Barbara
I
T. Good to see you.
all the interesting names I
The
can think of would
sunrise
probably.
dawn.
Hey, how
Woohoo!
you doing? Oh, Barbara T. How you doing this fine day? Oh my gosh, yeah, Barbara T is one of my friends from I think I've talked about a little bit my Chase ABR days, Chase Hughes
Oh,
days.
okay. Sure, you
Um,
did.
yeah, yeah, she was one of the people I looked up to there. Was is she's still somebody I look up to because she's like
Oh, I
she.
can't think of a better name. I talked
Oh
about
my
her and
gosh,
she appeared.
it's her. I
Wow.
thought it was okay.
I manifested that.
Wow. Well, you're good.
Who else would you like me to manifest?
Well, I'm still looking for an interesting name, something that wouldn't be banned is my problem. I can't think of any, all the interesting terms I can think of would probably include four-letter words, and it's just because of my lack of imagination. But I accept that. It's no problem. Hey, Shannon, why don't you ask me what enmeshment is?
I have been wondering ever since you told me what the topic today was going to be. What is enmeshment?
Well, wow, what a completely unexpected question. I swear you come up with some good ones. Well, enmeshment, I have several papers like this one. Enmeshment is enmeshment is a family relationship, or mainly a family relationship, where family members are, you can say they're closely knitted, but too much so. The one study suggested that up to 23% of families are actually enmeshed. And I'm like, that sounds awfully high. I know that my particular family relationship was more on the disconnected end. Of course, I think a lot of family relationships waver. Enmeshment is essentially where the family is too closely intertwined to where you lose individuality. It's often led by one parent who is extremely controlling, where you wouldn't be allowed to have your own opinions about things, and possibly not even your own personality. You would tend to take on the emotions that are expected of you, your emotions, the emotions of whoever the controlling
Oh,
figure.
Jimena, my friend. Hello.
Who's oh how do you say that name? Examina?
Jimena.
Jimena.
Jimena, my friend. Yes, from Mexico. From Mexico.
Okay.
Hola, Jimena.
Yes. Yes, like San Javier Mission. San Xavier, actually, but because of
Yes.
English, X is not a vowel. I know this because yeah, I've been to high school. Okay. So, it just seems like a silly day today. It really does. But yeah, to go back, enmeshment was a term that was thought up by Salvador Minchin Minchkin in 1970. He was a
Hmm.
therapist and a doctor of psychology that came up with it. It's a type of emotional control that can occur in family relationships when family members are overly connected and emotionally reactive to each other in an unhealthy way. In enmeshed relationships, there's a lack of emotional independence and separation between people, and boundaries often become so entangled it can be difficult to distinguish oneself from another without feeling extreme anxiety, anger, or distress. Okay, well,
I had a
uh,
bit of that myself
really?
in
Okay,
my family. Yes, I
really?
would say that. Yes, my mom tended to wear the pants in the family,
Hmm.
and probably pretty controlling.
Hmm.
Although they did encourage us to have our own opinions, for
Hmm.
sure. Like we had dinner together every day as a family. I mean,
Okay.
I had the ideal, theoretically ideal family.
Hmm.
Stay at home mom. My dad worked really hard. Came home from work every day at 3:10 on the dot. You
Hmm.
know, and my mom had dinner on the table by 4, a lot earlier than other people. But my dad went to work early,
Hmm.
And but my mom had a super big personality,
Oh boy. Yeah.
very extroverted, uh, pretty controlling. I
Mm-hmm.
remember one of the things that she said that hurt me as an adult was, I don't care if you're happy. I want you to do what I want you to do. And I was like, what kind of a parent doesn't want their child to be happy?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a big warning sign there.
Yeah,
Uh, and it was funny as I was starting to go through this. I thought, well, I could see off and on this occurring in my own family dynamic, but not so much. I mean, by and large. However, I have known one of my friends who was a pretty talented guitarist. Their family was extreme. They, by the definitions I've been able to find, would be extremely enmeshed. The father was a patriarch. You weren't allowed to do anything. You had to live at home until you got married. You could not. If,
yeah.
if if you were to move out by yourself, you'd be verboten, and that is one thing I was kind of surprised to see is that it's not uncommon to have one family member who tries to buck the system, and they become scapegoated, disconnected. The family, oh, we mustn't talk about that person. You're not allowed to bring them up. You're not allowed to invite them for Christmas dinner, whatever. Um, yeah, and that
Uh,
is actually fairly common. Um, and in his case, I remember there was one time, and this is a minor thing. We hit a part of a tire on the road, and he had an air dam underneath his car, and it had this little grill, and it just knocked part of the grill out. I mean, it was just this little piece of plastic about this big next to the road. So what? Well, and he was talking about driving somewhere. His father said, "Oh no, you can't do that because that could vibrate the car, and the car could fall apart." I, you have what? And they all like, oh, like it was gospel, oh, as if from above, like you're not allowed. And it's like, holy hell. And that is when some other things started to pop up. I'm like, this doesn't sound healthy.
well, I'm sure there's different degrees
Oh,
of,
yes, yes, there's a scale.
I mean,
Yeah.
I moved away to go to college. So, I
Mhm.
mean, my parents wanted me to go to college. So,
Yeah.
I got out through college.
Yeah.
My sister got out through addiction, through
Mm,
heroin addiction. So,
mm. Yes,
yeah.
some signs of enmeshment include poor boundaries, poor emotional management or even awareness, low levels of privacy between parents and children, parents being excessively involved in their parents' lives, people feeling emotionally fused or dependent upon one another, parents pressuring their children or presuming their children will be their best friend or give them emotional support. That can get that can get really tiring when you're a
I had a
parent.
lot of that.
Really?
Oh, and I wanted to answer him in his question.
Oh,
I I was able to, she asked, was I able to choose what I would major in?
hmm,
I was told not to come home with a BS humanities major, right? So my degree is in accounting. So,
hmm,
and where it's the humanities interested me so much more because of my interests. And I
hmm,
don't really think my mom liked me too much. I was she was an extrovert. My dad was an introvert.
hmm,
Um, and she, I was an introvert. My sister was an extrovert.
hmm, hmm.
So she was constantly pitting
Uh,
my sister and I against each other by saying things like, by constantly saying I was my dad's favorite. Well,
yes.
how is that helping anything?
Yeah.
How is that helping anything?
Yeah. And that.
And by telling me that she thinks there's something wrong with somebody who is shy
Mm-hmm.
be, because they think that everybody in the world is paying attention to them. So there's
Yeah.
something wrong with people who are shy. Well,
Mhm.
knowing I'm shy and saying that therefore there's something wrong with me, right? Like by default, right? That's
Mm. Um, wow, and that is a very that was one of the things that kept coming up from time to time is the idea of a golden child or setting one against the other. Any kind of disagreement, yes, it makes you an outcast or seen not as good as somebody who does everything that's expected of them. I really wish I could move notes to where I could see chat at the same time. Wait a minute, maybe I can. No, I can't. Okay. Of course I can, because it would be handy. Um, Enmeshment can develop as a coping mechanism to deal with anxiety, trauma, or the need for emotional security. Can also stem from cultural or familiar expectations. It can often start in childhood when parents fail to cultivate child autonomy and secure attachments. Yeah, that is something where a normal family you're going to be interdependent, but you're also going to have your own lives. You may want to take up ukulele. You may think that the guy with the tiny bubbles, what was his name? Tiny Bubbles, Hawaiian, ah, crap. What was that guy's name? Let's see if anybody in the chat knows. Okay, well, there's a 40-second lag. So, anywho, but yeah, you wouldn't be allowed to become your own. Oh, you couldn't be a parrot head if your mother didn't like parrot heads. So you couldn't like
right.
Jimmy Buffett. Yeah. Um,
Makes it hard. I mean, the dynamics within a family, they're hard.
yes. Yes, and
Very hard.
some of the more or some of the long term effects can lead to long term mental health effects such as being afraid of conflict. That's a big one. You're going to be passive. Like,
Body
well,
illusion, got it. Don Ho, yes.
Donna. Damn it.
I
I
saw
cannot
him when
forget.
I was in Hawaii.
How can I forget Don Ho?
I forgot to.
Yeah, it's like, oh well.
Lawrence Welk, no, he wasn't the one that sang Tiny Bubbles, but yeah,
Lauren,
he had bubbles in Lawrence Welk.
yes. Yeah,
There
he
were
had,
bubbles.
yes, and they're polka.
Yes. Well, I'm
Polka.
part Polish, so yes. Yeah. So my
Polka?
grandparents always had Lawrence Welk on.
Love Shack or polka? Hmm. That's a hard one.
Roll up the barrel, right?
Sony itty tutu. Ah, no, 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 no. Boom, 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 boom. No,
Love
no.
Shack, baby.
Love Jack, baby. Love
Love
Jack,
Shack.
baby. Baby, love Jack. Your what? Tan roof. What's
Si-
it?
Singing
What?
was
What?
not
What?
something I was blessed with. So
It took me forever to figure out what she was saying. That's it. Like, what is that? So, oh, it's tin roof rusted. It wasn't until the advent of the web I was able to finally figure that one out.
yes, right.
Jeez. Yeah, people feeling, yeah. Yes, being afraid of conflict, low self esteem, lack of self identity. Anxiety can occur, especially when a person has to function alone. Substance misuse is also common, sometimes used as an attempt to alleviate emotional discomfort. Depression is a common experience. This could also lead to eating disorders are also common in enmeshed families, which I guess that makes sense. You're trying to treat, it's a legal drug, so I guess
But Oh yeah, and it's actually I did not have an eating disorder, but
Hmm.
from what I've read, it's for people that have a complete lack of control in their lives, and the
Hmm.
one thing they can control is what they put in their mouth,
Yeah.
so they can control what they eat.
Yep.
Although some parents take that right away. I will say my parents were not really big on forcing us to eat everything on our plate like a lot of parents. So, which was good, because, my getting fat is not going to help some starving kid in Mexico
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Africa or anywhere else.
Yeah.
Someone
And
starving, it makes no
yeah.
logical conclusion for like,
Yeah.
well, if I eat everything on my plate, how's that going to help some starving kid in Africa?
Yeah. Yeah. That it I did not have the common sense to see the problem with that fallacy until well into college, and it's like, holy hell! Wait a minute! It finally
Really?
occurred to me. Oh well, I mean, I was in a controlling, but I don't know if I would consider my relationship to be enmeshed. I mean, I think it just constantly went back and forth between disconnected to enmeshed. I can see periods of time where this was going on, where and this is really big when you're enmeshed families are real big when they're all particularly religious. You're expected to have the same religion. You're expected to have the same politics. You're expected to, like the same families. Like your parents like, one family. You're expected to as well. It's like no, and his feet stink, and he's fat, and he likes Don Ho. I cannot like Don Ho, although, well, no, I have to like Don Ho, but um,
I would
Casey.
like, can I just make a comment too?
Mm,
Seventh, I'm very sorry that you were
oh,
raised feeling that you're extra or expendable. You are not, to me or anyone else on the
mm.
lifeboat, or
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
anyone that knows you.
I was feeling that. I was wow, wow. That is big.
Is there any way that you can pull that up and put that on the
Yeah,
screen
yeah, I
for
just
people
saw
to
that.
replay?
Hmm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is. That would be. Yeah, that could be a sign of it. It sounds like. Wow. Hmm,
Yeah,
man.
that's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. You're definitely not expendable seventh. Um. I Yeah. I hope that you were able to work through that and to put that limiting belief. Although just because yeah, you were raised feeling that, so chances are it's probably a limiting belief that you have. But what do I know? I'm not a doctor. Um.
I think that
Yeah.
we
But
all have our own things that we need to
yeah.
overcome from childhood. I think
Yeah.
parents do the best that they can. And my mom came from an abusive home, so she was doing the best she could too.
Yeah, that was one thing I did notice with the enmeshed families was that it is commonly parents who were raised that way that then instill it in their kids. So it's very big genetic or whatever, what do you want to call it? You have a it's got a very long lineage. It tends to repeat itself, and it makes sense because you're going to raise your kids the only way you know how, which is the way you were
Right.
raised by default.
I mean, they stopped the she stopped the abuse cycle, you
Hmm.
know, well, for the most part.
Oh
For
boy.
the most part. But yeah, she wasn't, but she had her faults. So
Mhm.
my dad
Uh,
though was so wonderful. I was very blessed to have a really awesome dad.
so I'm
But
taking he was more passive.
yes,
Okay, that would make sense. Um,
and
let's
adored
see.
my mom right to the end, and yeah, adored my
Hmm.
mom.
Um, Some examples would be someone who does not have a strong sense of self, somebody who depends upon others to provide validation and self esteem. That's because they're so used to looking to their parents for it when they're outside of the parental relationship. They don't have any sense of that for themselves, so they look to others, which this kind of feeds into one of the things we discussed yesterday. Cannot function well alone, has difficulty acting alone, having a healthy level of independent, yes, unable to have a healthy level of independence within a relationship. Somebody who's unable to act and think separately from their family without feeling the family was betrayed. Does
I mean,
not gauge.
I had a hard time with that. Like when I was
Hmm.
my very first relationship was with a narcissist,
Oh
and
boy.
yeah, it was, the love bombing was perfect, and then he's just swooped right
Oh
in,
boy.
and you know,
Yeah, and that. Yeah, that's why. Because everybody's limiting beliefs come from our childhood traumas and things like that. That's where most of them come from. But yeah, when you have something like that, that makes love bombing only more effective against people who've had that. And I think everybody's susceptible to it in some amount. But some further examples: a mother who calls her son's ex girlfriend to ask why she broke up with him. That sounds kind of creepy.
hello, I live for now. Good to see you. You know that
Hello.
that brings me to another thing that was heartbreaking when I broke up with said narcissist, and I was crying uncontrollably.
Mhm.
And you know what my mom said to me? She said, "I can't believe you don't even know how to hold on to a man."
Really? Really?
Really. Hi, Todd Matrix.
Matrix, how you doing, Todd? Matrix Rabbit. Oh man, that wow. Mm.
Can you believe that you would say that to somebody controlling uncontrollably, crying uncontrollably? You
Well,
don't even know how to hold on to a man, as
you're
if I wanted to hold on to him. I wanted to let go of him, right?
yeah,
I didn't want to hold on to him.
as if you'd say it to your own child.
In the state of crying uncontrollably.
Hmm.
I mean,
Man.
I definitely cringed. It made me
Mhm.
cringe. Like, what is wrong with you? What is
Hmm.
wrong with you to say something so nuts? Like,
Wow.
really? I mean, didn't even wait till later. Like, move right in for the kill when I'm crying uncontrollably that I don't even know how to hold on to a man. Well, come
Hmm.
on.
Wow.
Oh, but she knew how to hold on to men for sure. She knew how to manipulate them to the fullest.
Mm. Another example would be a parent who relies on their child for support through a divorce. Um, a family member who takes it personally when someone else in the family moves away. Person who has no understanding of activities he enjoys or relies or takes on the interests of his friends. Now, that I think that can be somebody says, "Oh, this is really cool." Yeah, okay, yeah, but when you have no interests of your own and you're relying upon your friends for all your interests, yeah, eating disorders. There it is again. Um, yeah. So let's see. Those in enmeshed relationships will likely struggle to balance time together and time apart. It may bring stress, anxiety, or frustration, fear, or other emotions when there may be any form of separation. That's according to Dr. Oh, come on. Dr. Todorovic. That's his name. That's not it, but
Close enough.
why do they do this to me? Pat- Patterns of family functioning and dimensions of parenting styles. Name the book that's in. People in enmeshed relationships may also have difficulty supporting each other and celebrating differences and or achievements. They are likely to decide based upon what they think the other person wants and needs. That is a bad one for me. I do tend to do that. I do tend to.
Can you
It's
say that?
taken.
Could you say that again? I didn't quite hear it.
Oh, that is a bad one for me. I do. Or let's see. People in mess relationships may also have difficulty supporting each other and celebrating their differences. They are likely to decide based upon what they think the other person wants rather than their needs. So you're going to, I think you want this. I don't think you need this, but I think you want me to say this, that kind of thing. And that's a bad one for me. Of course, I think empaths, I think that tends to be a bad one for them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, people who are um, highly emotional, I think they will tend to, yes, scapegoating and favoritism are also really big in the mesh families. We already went into that, especially if you have somebody who bucks the system at all, they will become the black sheep. Possible cures or ways to get through it. Of course, the first one's always going to be therapy because therapists will really help give you an outside opinion, first of all, because we often can't see things in our,
Right.
we're thinking of them with our emotional brains. It's important to have that dispassionate view. In the case with a therapist, you're also talking to somebody who's trained to help you with this. So, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you definitely want to, uh, you know, what do you call it? Avail yourself of, that whenever possible. Boundary settings is actually a really big thing. But boundaries can be very difficult, apparently, especially in this kind of relationship. You have to start really small and be consistent. And then the unfortunate part when you're trying to set
Boundaries are
boundaries
hard. Yep.
with a narcissist, especially, because they will
Boundaries are
walk,
really hard.
yeah, they'll walk all over them. And yeah, the only way that you can really effectively do it is with a lot of them to say, well, it's not because of you. It's because I'm so messed up. I need to have this boundary. That's really, one of the only ways I found that I can set them against a narcissist, which would tend to be just looking at this. It would tend to be, who would be the controlling figure more often than not. But I guess you could be controlling without being a narcissist too. So,
I sometimes wonder if my mom was a narcissist, but I
mm.
don't. I'm not sure. I'm really
Oh,
not sure.
yeah, I know
Maybe.
my, I know my friend's father was. He fits it. He doesn't fit. What was it? The minimum I think was like five diagnostic criteria out of the nine. He doesn't fit five. He fits like eight. But again, I can't diagnose. I'm not a doctor. Definitely. Damn it, Jim. Doctor, what do you want from me? Um, yes, yes. You definitely want to set boundaries slowly. You try to do it while they're not right after the event. You want to wait a while and then set it so it seems a little more disconnected. Person isn't quite so likely. A high controlling person isn't quite so likely to see it as a punitive measure because if they see it as being punitive, they're more likely to hit it quickly. Practicing mindfulness can be big, and of course, there's going to be the obligatory. Whenever you have mindfulness, you have Tommy Scoville saying journal. That just goes without saying. But
I
yes,
know. I don't think he's going to show up this time to yell at me again, is he? Because that's what he did last time.
yes. Well, yeah.
He showed up and it was like,
Tommy
oh, the
Scoville.
lifeboat. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, Tommy's wrapping me on the knuckles. And he's like, yes.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I thought you were Spanx. Man.
Yes, I said his name 3 times. He did not appear. Oh, wait a minute. Let me double check.
Yeah,
Let me
better
double
check.
check. Crap. Uh, yes, we're
I like
safe.
the minute I saw the answer, I'm like, oh, that is not Spanx.
Yes. Oh my. Yeah, therapy again. Yes, and this I found interesting. Barbara Hoverman has quite a bit on YouTube. If you think you're in a mesh family, she has. I just found her right before starting this video, and it's like, holy wow, she's got a lot of stuff out there for enmeshed families. So it might be worth taking a look at her stuff just to get a professional opinion, or at least a professional presentation on it. 3 types of parents that typically are in, as weird as it sound, typically known to start enmeshed families. One is a romanticized parent, also known as covert incest. This does not mean literal, but it's
Right.
a parent who uses their child for companionship and intimacy, which they are incapable of finding through adult relationships. I've known somebody who was like that. I mean,
Yep.
you're not talking necessarily physical intimacy or anything like that,
No,
but
we're talking about, yeah,
yeah,
they're using you, your friend, their friend rather than your parent.
yep.
Hmm.
Of course, the other type would be a helicopter parent. I think we know what that's like. Type of parent who watches very closely, make sure the child's always safe. And oh no, you can't. No, no, no. You got to have the kid with the helmet and the bubble boy outfit.
No, we had to be back when the street lights came on. That was not much of a helicopter parent there. So
Mhm. The other type that is very common is apparently the incapacitated parent. This would be somebody who's undergoing a lot of trauma or is bedridden, and just because you have somebody who's injured requires care, that does not make them this. This would be somebody who does it, who's incapacitated, but then takes over your life type of thing, to where they they are so dependent on you and you are so dependent upon them. It'd be almost codependent, sounds like. This parent who is unable to care for themselves fully due to physical, mental illness, or addiction and relies upon their family for some or all of their basic needs. Sometimes it's unavoidable for children to become a carer for an ill parent for financial or other reasons. There is still room for the child to have needs. This enmeshed example is more extreme, but there's no flexibility for the child's needs. So basically, for that to happen, why am I pointing at my notes? I don't know. For that to happen, yeah, it would have to be to the extreme where you are not allowed to have any needs. So I found um that to be kind of interesting. I never even knew there was a type for that. Yes, boundaries. Oh man, boundaries are hard, and it's because you're actually, and I guess they actually should be difficult because you're potentially, um, I don't know if this may be a stronger term, but at least in the view of the person setting the boundary, they might be putting the relationship in at least a little bit of jeopardy. So yeah, it's going to be hard, and the best way I found to do so was to, and I can't remember. There's a doctor who explains this on the web. Is wait till after the event has occurred, give it some time. Don't do it right after, because yeah, then it seems punitive, and then set the boundary. You know what, mother? The next time you call and you discuss how you disagree with my views on medical care with my current medical doctor who's got a degree hanging on her wall, the next time that you try to degrade her because she's helping me through this. I'm just going to hang up because no good comes from it. And then, yeah, it the hardest part is when, oh, but you should go see the you go so see this doctor in Bisbee. Oh, that's the same one who misdiagnosed my old boss as who was having a heart attack as it being indigestion, right? You want me to go see him? No, mother. No, I'm not going to talk about this. Oh, no, no. But you need to stop seeing that quack up there. That quack doesn't know what she's talking about, mother. We talked about this. In fact, you need to see somebody more competent. And just because somebody has a big career with lots of people doesn't mean that they know what they're doing. Just because they publish papers, that doesn't mean they know what they're doing. And you need to go see this, mother. We talked about this. Well, you need to take better care of yourself. Okay, click and call back. And you know, you should go see somebody who's a little more. Click, give it a while, and should call back, and yeah. But it took some and that really wasn't even in a mesh relationship. That was just dealing with somebody who's got a little less ability to feel empathy towards others than anybody else. So I'll
Right,
just put
yeah,
it that way.
right.
So
Yeah,
yes,
I
boundaries
mean,
are
not
very hard.
everybody. Ooh,
Yeah.
look, Ned is in the house. Hello, Ned.
Ned, how you doing? A lot of Shannon's out there still looking. Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, I asked her to put my channel up.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's exactly what I. Let me see if I can get this. Say something, Shannon, while I try to dig for this.
So, Awakened, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while and I've missed you. Thank you so much for looking it up, Body Illusion. I really appreciate it.
Aha! 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 Oh, I should have put your name. Just
Oh,
click on that and see where it takes you. Okay,
that
try.
may or may not be the link to my channel. If it is, please follow me if if you like what you see.
Setting boundaries.
If you haven't been completely scared by everything I had to say.
Yeah.
Yes, setting
Yes.
boundaries does take practice. The first time you do it, it's scary, but the more you do it, the better you
Yeah.
get at it, and the less you let people cross them. I like that.
Yeah. And it might be the kind of thing I didn't really start.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you were here, Ned.
Although I guess I actually did start small because you, I mean, I guess there's bigger things to set a boundary with a parent about over than opinions of a medical professional. But I picked that one just because it was the thing we wound up fighting most about, and then it's led to other ones, and yeah, I had to get to the point where I'm just saying this is not. We're having the same argument. This isn't doing anybody any good.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it may be the kind of thing where
Thank you.
um, we're doing it with something small might be easy. It's just something, yeah. Where it gets hard is when they violate it because when they violate it once, they think they can violate it again and again and again. The next one you set, it's very hard. Um,
Well, at
and
some point, you have to set the boundaries and
yeah,
be serious, and there has to be consequences,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And the only way I could do it that I found that works for me. Now this may be different. Is yeah, I had to use almost that childlike language that we're
Thank you.
encouraged to by our therapist by saying, when you do this, I feel this. And it sounds stupid, but at least then that way you're kind of putting it on yourself, so
Ooh, I
it doesn't
like
feel like an
that.
attack.
I like that. When you do this, I feel
Yeah,
this. I like that.
yeah, it's a very a lot of therapists will use that one, and it's because you're saying. you're saying that I feel this way, it's on me kind of thing, and you're not putting anything on them, but you're just letting them know when you do this, it has this effect on me. You're not saying you're being a bastard. You're not saying anything like that. Um,
Oh, could I just answer Ned's question? I just came from Mystic Dragons site, and she is in an evacuation zone. She's in Washington State. Brazy was Brazy was there, so Brazy isn't having a problem with the fires. I'm not.
Interesting.
I spoke with Janet this morning. I don't think she's having an issue, but I haven't heard from Janet. But I don't know. Is it mostly Western Canada? Because I know Brazy's in Eastern Canada, and let's see. I know Janet's in Western Canada though, so I'm not really sure.
Hmm.
Crystal didn't say anything about the fires yesterday on Surviving Together. So, oh,
Wow.
and thanks for showing up on Surviving Together yesterday, Ben.
Hmm. Let's see if I can do this. This unfortunately doesn't cover Canada, but it. Let's see here. Share screen. Window. Aha, here we go. This is a fire watch map. Let's see here.
Well, let me
Fortunately, this is
answer
all the
this
way out.
question. Can't think of a better name. What do you do when they mock your feelings after the explanation, though? Well, that is when you have to have consequences, right?
Well,
For real. If they don't care
I
about your feelings, then there needs to be consequences.
I wound up just saying I'm trying to remember in my case if that
Hi,
happened.
Don Gloves.
I think there was some of it, and I think I just acted like I didn't hear it. I think that was how I handled it. But yeah, I think Tony B is right.
Walk
Walk
away.
away. Yeah,
I mean, that is one of the consequences. I mean, there
yeah,
could be less substantial consequences in the beginning, but if it continues,
yeah,
right, then the ultimate answer is walk away. If they don't care about your feelings, if they don't respect your feelings,
yeah,
then what are you holding on to?
yeah. Wow.
Then, then,
Yeah,
then you have to ask yourself, what are you holding on to?
yeah, yeah. Well, doggone, I thought that would cover Canada, but it doesn't. But yeah, this does indicate a lot of fires up in Washington.
Yeah, Washington
Yeah.
State is not doing great.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I did. Thank you so much for saying that because I heard somebody mention it, but I didn't catch all of it, so I didn't know what the situation was.
And
I
I,
have to
I
walk.
did want to thank everybody who subbed to my channel too. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's what I have to hang up. Although, yeah, it helps if you have a little bit of separation because at least then it's easier to deal with the phone. Um, yeah, it would make it much harder to do so in person. Um, yeah, setting boundaries for me is extremely hard because of my natural personality. I want to get
Me
along with
too.
everybody.
Me too. You and I have very similar personalities that way.
Yeah, I'm very binary. It's either, yeah, I want to be friends with everybody,
Me
and
too.
if you get so far, then fine. I go instantly over to fine. Then let's break up and blah blah blah. But I don't have a lot of zone in
Yeah, there
between.
needs to be, I mean, I think there needs to be something in the middle. And if
Yeah,
they continue to disrespect your feelings, you're not holding on to very much, to be quite
yeah,
honest.
yeah. That's true.
And
That's a good way to view it. So that was what I found with enmeshment. I did not expect that to be. I mean, I thought I knew what it was before I started digging in, and I was just amazed to see that basically 1 in 4 families, at least in the U.S., is considered enmeshed. So it may be better to say, if you don't understand necessarily, or if meshment isn't a good term, maybe a high control family that might help people relate a little better. Something where you're not allowed to have your own opinions, your own personality.
Right. Oh, or like Jimena just said, I was taught from childhood that my feelings did not matter, that if people disrespected me, I needed to try harder to be accepted. Right. We were trained to be people pleasers,
Mm-hmm.
especially women
Yeah,
are expected to be people pleasers, right? We're expected to we're expected to please. And I like pleasing people, don't get me
yeah.
wrong.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
especially, yeah, given the industry you're in. I mean, sorry, I didn't
I
mean
mean,
to
I
cut you
wouldn't
off.
have been hired otherwise, right? I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, and I can talk to anyone about just about anything. I'm a pretty good conversationalist, and traveling so much is, I can talk about many different areas of the world and the country and things like that. Do you want to read that?
because of you giving so much, do they wear you out? Is that the reason you can say bye so easily? It's not really easy. It's
It's
just
they do wear you
first.
out.
Yeah, yeah, that is very true.
They do wear.
Um, as far as getting to the point to where, let's be enemies. Yeah, that is easy for me to get to that point, but where I have a really hard time is dealing with family relationships where there's been a lot of neglecting of boundaries, or overstepping boundaries, or ignoring boundaries. That was always been hard for me, and that was the only way I found I could deal with them, to say, it's not you, it's, the problem is me. I can't handle this. I can't handle when you do this. Yeah, I was taught to put others first. Yep, others are more important than self. My family were religious. Yep, turn the other
And that,
cheek of respecting
in
her.
body illusion, I want to apologize for asking that of you. I didn't mean to stress you out. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stress you out. Sorry.
Hmm,
So I live for now says I was raised the same, Tony. I have a hard time breaking my people pleasing habits. I think a lot of us do.
yeah. Now, I'm proud of you, though, Barbara, because considering some of the things that you have come out of, I'm not going to say what they were. It's just I happen to know Barbara, like I said.
Right.
Um, she's come out of some very difficult groups, high control groups type things. Um, and certain events have happened to where it's like, wow, how do you come out of that, even knowing who you are? And I know that now she's exploring who she is. So that's, wow, that's a big step. Um, that's all I'll say about that. I'm trying not to, um,
Right.
but
You don't want to dox anything.
yeah, oh yeah, certainly not. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for Barbara, because I know that she's been through a lot, multiple times, and I know that she handled a lot better than I did. Ooh, yeah, we Barbara and I also had experience with a, how do I put this, a closet narcissist, the same one. So yeah,
I am so sorry that you were in a narcissistic relationship for 15 years.
yeah,
And to a certain extent, it does
mhm,
program us though, right?
yeah, and that's a big problem for people. People, oh, It's very popular to say, "Oh, I'm an empath. Oh, it's all wonderful. It's all roses. Oh,
It
everything is
is
beautiful."
not.
And yeah, that's it
And
has so many
I said
problems.
that to Spanx one in the chat.
Yeah,
I said, you know, being an empath can be a curse.
yeah,
You don't necessarily want to take on other people's feelings. Like
yeah,
that's necessarily a good thing for you.
you know,
And it doesn't help the other person at all. Oh, you're
yeah,
in Scientology.
you know,
I'm
um,
so sorry. That's rough.
yeah, that, and it was after that that we ran into the same person that we both had difficulties with. Um, but yeah, Barbara's one of these people. Oh, no, I won't. No, 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 no. It's not bad. She can throw herself completely into what she's doing, and I wish I could. She can really grasp everything and just you know immerse herself with it, and that is something I'm always slow to do that. It's like it takes me much longer, but there's downsides to both. Um, Listening while I
Oh,
drive home. Hello, the mighty
Kristen
KM.
Melinda. You can say it though. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Ah,
The
no,
mighty. What were you going to say?
I don't remember, but it's okay because it probably
It had to
involved.
do with KM.
I was going to call her the mighty KM.
Yes,
That's
the
the
mighty
mighty.
KM has arrived.
Yeah, she. Can you believe that she still drives herself? That she doesn't have somebody drive her? And I mean, I've heard.
Doesn't she own Texas? I thought she owned
Yeah,
Texas.
and they expect her to park with everybody else. I mean, it doesn't have.
The
Yeah,
horrors.
yeah. I mean, she's such a
The
benevolent
horrors.
leader. She's such a benevolent overlord that
And I
she
did want
doesn't.
to send prayers out to Miss Sunrise
Hmm.
Dawn and her husband. I know he's been very sick and he just got out of the hospital. So I wanted to send ones and prayers and thoughts out to Miss Sunrise Dawn.
Sending ones where this came from a channel called the Lifeboat, which is where a lot of the people here come from. And on the Lifeboat, basically, when you send a one to somebody, you can say you can equate it to thoughts and prayers, or if you're not religious at all, you can equate it to sending somebody a virtual hug. It's just a way to say, "Hey, I support you. I'm thinking of you. I hope the best for you." That kind of thing. So if anybody doesn't understand ones, that's basically what it is. Um,
Okay, well
Barbara,
then most of my prayers now are for you, Miss Sunrise Dawn. She says my hubby is so freaking irritable and is yelling at everyone in sight. I get that he doesn't feel good, but he needs to get that under control or at least stop screaming. Well, yes,
oh
he
my gosh,
does.
yeah,
You,
yeah.
yeah.
Barbara was a huge source of support for me. So yeah, she'll always have my gratitude for that. Ah, great video explaining this. Great video explaining.
Misha and Awakened
Oh,
by the Looking Glass is an amazement to me. She is so phenomenal. I am
yeah,
so grateful to call her my friend.
yeah. Well, that's basically all I had. Anybody else anything they need to talk about?
I will step out so you can do your fab outro and I will say goodbye to the chat. I will see you all later.
Oh yes, Barbara. I did not know. I didn't know about it till you made me aware of it, or you or Teresa. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Covert narcissism, and what's so odd about that was after learning about that, I could see how one of my parental relationships, how somebody was diagnosed with a condition that, how do I say this, that they do not have any empathy. They would switch from covert to overt narcissism just on the fly. Um, and that is why it took me so long to realize that is the way she was, because I didn't know they could do that, where they could switch from covert to overt narcissists. But yeah, I guess skilled ones tend to stay covert longer. I don't, maybe not skilled. I think that's the wrong term. I thought my van was making a noise. Turned out it was just my cup rattling in the holder. Yeah, I've been there. Well, you know what, people? Thank you so much for showing up. Much love to you all. I do hope you all have a great day. And yeah, to those here, I should drop a link to the lifeboat just in case. The lifeboat is basically a site that is led by Tommy Scoville. He is a how do I put this? I'll just be upfront about it. He is he's an ex-con. He was put in prison for, I think, gun running and running drugs. I believe he was running drugs. Um, but yeah, in prison, he was also a addict to um, not meth. Come on, heroin. And in prison, he took on a friend who was able to step him through everything. An unlikely friend, considering the way prison is. Um, he was able to find somebody who stepped him through to get him onto the path of sobriety, and he's been on it since. I think he's been sober for 8 years. Am I right? But now he runs a channel where basically encouraging sobriety, connection. You don't have to be recovering from drugs to be a part of his channel, but yeah, he's pretty wise. Yeah, he basically preaches connection. And now, of course, the channel's grown to where it's not just dealing with drugs; it's dealing with addictions of all sorts, which, of course, we all have ours, um, and trauma and everything else. So, yeah, if anybody's interested, yes, Sunrise Dawn just posted a link to the lifeboat TLB. Um, but I do hope you all have a great day, and you take care. And what does Tommy say? Try to save somebody. And of course, Carol says, peace, y'all. I can find it. There it is.